Good morning, everyone. Uh, Welcome to the first meeting of August. It's nice to make it through July with no fires. We got halfway through our summer, I think, and we're in good shape. So keep your fingers crossed that that continues for the rest of the summer. And I would like to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance and Heidi.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will start out with presentations. The first one will be adopting first will be adopting August 1st to August 7th, 2025 as World Breastfeeding Week. A proclamation. Whereas Trinity County Health and Human Service Agency commits to strengthening strategies to encourage healthy choices, healthy outcomes, and healthy families. And whereas human milk provides unique nutrition and non-nutritional benefits for an infant's growth and development, reduces the risk of infectious and chronic diseases, and protects mothers' and infants' health. Whereas the Trinity County Health and Human Service Agency and the U.S. Department of Agriculture and cooperating state health departments, territories, and tribal organizations promote and support breastfeeding as the best source of infant nutrition through the Special Supplement Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, also known as WIC, and other nutritional related programs. Whereas Trinity County Public Health, through its Health and Human Services Agency, empowers mothers to meet their individual breastfeeding goals excuse me, through WIC breastfeeding support resources and their WIC food packages, which emphasize whole, healthy, and nutritious foods. Whereas Trinity County WIC joins professional health organizations and breastfeeding advocates worldwide in celebrating World Breastfeeding Week, August 1st through August 7th of each year, to collaboratively raise awareness of the numerous benefits of breastfeeding to strengthen individual family and community support for breastfeeding, to further strategies to promote breastfeeding practices, and to support increased breastfeeding rates. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Trinity, in appreciation of breastfeeding mothers and all the dedicated volunteer professionals and community organizations who support their efforts, be it further proclaimed World Breastfeeding Week, August 1st through August 7th, 2025. Duly passed and adopted on this 5th day of August, 2025 by the Board of Supervisors of Trinity County.
So moved.
I'll second.
Supervisor Gogan?
Aye.
Supervisor Cox?
Aye.
Supervisor Leutwiler?
Aye.
Supervisor Brownfield?
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris?
Aye.
Please. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Kathy Tillman, and I oversee the Public Health Branch. Today, we join communities around the world in celebrating World Breastfeeding Week 2025, a time to recognize the vital role breastfeeding plays in giving children the healthiest possible start in life. Breastfeeding is one of the most effective ways to ensure a child's health and well-being. It provides ideal nutrition for infants, strengthens their immune system, and supports brain development. Breastfed babies are less likely to develop asthma, obesity, and heart disease throughout their lifetime. For mothers, it promotes physical recovery, mental well-being, and a powerful bond with their children. It also reduces a woman's risk of developing diabetes and breast and ovarian cancer throughout their lifetime. Beyond the individual benefits, breastfeeding is a key public health strategy helping to reduce healthcare costs and improve population health outcomes. A comprehensive analysis conducted in 2017 revealed that globally speaking, every $1 dollar spent in promoting and supporting optimal breastfeeding practices generates an estimated $35 return on investment. Breastfeeding isn't always easy, and it's not something parents should be expected to do alone. That is why it's so important that we create a breastfeeding-friendly culture through family, healthcare systems, workplaces, and community collaboration. When we support breastfeeding, we support healthier families and a stronger future for Trinity County. Thank you for celebrating our county's breastfeeding mothers, as well as the family members, friends, and community organizations and professionals who support their efforts. And through Trinity County Health and Human Services Public Health Branch, we do have a number of resources to support mothers and families in their breastfeeding journey, including our breastfeeding expert, Robin. And anybody who needs support can give us a call at Public Health, and we can get them set up with information, education, and resources that might be able to help them. Thank you.
Thank you. Pictures. Okay. Next, we have a presentation recognizing Yanni Desmond for her exemplary work and dedication and for achieving the Lynn Goodwin Award. Liz, are you going to speak to that? Thank you.
My pleasure. Good morning, Chair, members of the board, Liz Hamilton, Health and Human Services Agency Director, and Yanni Desmond with me. So at the California Friday Night Live Partnership Leadership Training Institute Conference on July 24th, our very own Yanni Desmond was awarded the Friday Night Live Lynn Goodwin Dedication Award. This award is not handed out every year. It is when someone is deserving and worthy of it. The Lynn Goodwin Dedication Award recognizes individuals who exemplify meaningful partnerships, outstanding service, and unwavering commitment and dedication to the Friday Night Live system and the young people they serve. Aiming to foster positive youth development, empowering young people to become leaders and create positive change in their community. Yanni has been with us since 2013. She earned her substance abuse counselor certification and was promoted to substance abuse specialist 2 in 2016 and began providing direct counseling services in addition to continuing her efforts in substance abuse prevention. Currently, our Trinity Friday Night Live program is serving 30 youth across 3 high school chapters and 80 middle school youth through 6 different chapter sites in the county, with a total of 9 chapters and 110 youth. This is done on a shoestring budget and with a lot of passion. 3 initiatives that I'm sure led to Yanni receiving this award that I do want to highlight. The Reaching Forward conference that is done every year with our youth, hosted by Behavioral Health Prevention, Friday Night Live, and many other local partnering agencies, was a huge success this last spring, with 8 of our local schools participating, which included Burnt Ranch, Junction City, Trinity Prep Academy, Douglas City, Lewiston, Hayfork, Van Duzen, and Xenia Elementary Schools, with a total of 250 youth participating within the 6th to 8th grade students. Yanni and Friday Night Live youth have been working on a Take Back Our Bathroom campaign and a Third Hand Smoke project. Would you like to talk about this specifically? I know that there will be a coming to you, a presentation. But I wanted to speak on the Take Back Our Bathroom campaign. Yanni and together with HRN took students to the Capitol, and they were able to speak with our legislative groups to support and campaign against or educate about the effects of vaping and the impacts that they have with our youth in our schools. I think that this was a huge success, and I know one that means a lot to Yanni and the kids that she works with. The Third Hand Smoke Project, which will be presented to you in more detail, that's a partnership with San Diego State University Center for Tobacco, and the effects of third hand smoke. So look forward to that. But I just want to thank Yanni for her service. Working with youth is a special population, one that takes time, I think, to just establish buy-in, and it requires consistency, and Yanni shows up, and they've learned to trust her. She has their trust. You can see that in their engagement. And so well-deserved, and congratulations from us all on this award. Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to work in prevention. It has become my passion. I didn't know it was going to be my passion until I started doing it 12 years ago. And I just want to thank my supervisors, because I couldn't do it without their support as well, and the youth and all the community support as well. So just thank you.
Okay, we will now receive, you're all ready, aren't you? An update from the U.S. Forest Service representative regarding matters of interest in Trinity County. Sarah, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Thank you
Good to
very
hear.
much, Supervisor Gogan. Okay, I wanted to start off because you did mention fire. I wanted to give you a few statistics. Between June 30th and August 2nd, the Shasta Trinity National Forest firefighters achieved high levels of success controlling wildfires that started from the lightning, stopping progress on 95% of them within 24 hours. In those 35 days, more than 5,000 lightning strikes were recorded on the Shasta Trinity National Forest, resulting in 57 fires. Of those, 54 were held to 2 acres or less. Last week alone, the west side saw 7 fires, 1 on the South Fork side and 6 here on the Big Bar and Weaverville side. All of those fires were caught at, I think the biggest one was the one on the South Fork side that was 3 acres. But we had plenty of resources and got after it really well. Our firefighters have been working extended hours, including 24-hour shifts, and just really, really pleased with their success. And on top of that, the cooperation with our state and local partners, our folks have also responded and supported other agencies in their responses here locally. So super thankful and proud of those folks for the efforts they've been putting in, including yesterday we had to raft some people in across the river, which was, it was very unique to us. They're on the Shasta Lake side. They get a boat ride across the lake, but that's too easy for us. We like to keep us on our toes, so we raft across. It was good. We had a good week. All right. So fuels reduction treatments, in timber, we have the pilot project is out with the bid opening is August 15th. Lemonade Springs Timber Sale, which is out on South Fork Mountain, will be advertised soon and be awarded this in the next month. Jack Timber Sale will be advertised this month as well. That's at the Jackass Springs Campground up at the lake. The Bowerman Timber Sale will be advertised this month as well. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 timber sales that'll be going out this month. And so we're happy with that. Fuels, manual fuels work has been completed within the SPI fuel break on the Bowerman project. That accounted for 70 acres of that 2,400 acre project, but we got 70 acres of it done. SPI came in through that agreement we have and got that manual work done. And the cut, skid, and deck of the commercial size material is underway, and that will encompass about 178 acres. Hayward is expected to be logged next month. The logging will be evaluated prior to authorizing the work in tannery. So the project was developed to proactively improve forest health within the campground prior to mortality from insects, disease, and drought. And if you've been around the lake, which I know you all have, you'll see that in Mary Smith, you'll see it in Ackerman, you'll see it in Clark Springs, Jackass Springs, East Weaver, Burnt Ranch. We have high mortality occurring in these campgrounds. So the Trinity Camps project was designed to proactively treat those campgrounds to maintain that forest health and keep those trees from dying. We know how important recreation is to Trinity County, and so this was an effort to keep those campgrounds healthy. Our folks spend an unimaginable amount of time trying to address hazard trees. Because if you weren't aware, if there are a lot of hazard trees in a campground and we can't provide safe facilities for the public, then we have to close the campground. So we're trying to get ahead of that by improving the forest health in those. Again, that NEPA document is the Trinity Camps planning effort, and that document can be found on our website. The Pettyjohn fuels reduction work will be underway soon. We keep plugging away at the Pettyjohn project, making good progress there. More work has been done in the August fire restoration. So far this field season, we've accomplished approximately 500 acres of fuels reduction work with 12 miles of hazard trees being mitigated. Planning in progress, Big Ranch community risk reduction. That scoping document will be out in the next 2 weeks at the most, and I will make sure it's in the Trinity Journal. Want to make sure our local folks know what we're up to. And there'll be a public field trip I will get that information to all of you. North Trinity County Community Risk Reduction Project, that analysis is underway. South Fork Mountain, that analysis is underway, and a field trip is coming up with the Trinity County Collaborative Group to that project area. Junction City has a project underway being led by the Watershed Center through third-party NEPA. There's a Musser Hill fuel break project going in, or fuels treatment. That's being led by the Trinity County RCD with partner-led NEPA. And let's see, there's a Trinity Divide fuel break that's going to go in. SPI is taking the lead with that NEPA as one of our partners. And there's a Wildwood area. There's a project out there, and Corral Creek Timber is going to be taking the lead with partner-led NEPA on that project. Recreation, we have ongoing maintenance and hazard tree mitigation. Our rec staff, as you know, when we get fires, we are an all hands on deck organization. Our rec staff arranged, we had patrols out in the wilderness during the high use weekends. We also had wilderness patrols for the lightning. We had our rec staff filled in as logistics chiefs, base camp managers, drivers, firefighters, falling bosses. So really happy with the whole district's response to these fires. We appreciate those who volunteered to help as our wilderness patrols. Minersville, Debo has assigned a new engineer to review the plans that we've submitted. We expect that review to be completed this month. Roads update, the Wild Mad Road, the culvert has been excavated and exposed, and work is ongoing out there. If you haven't seen that culvert, it's like 37 feet across. It is you can drive a vehicle through it. It's mind-blowing to me. We have made good progress on that. And we've got the pipe exposed, and our engineering staff is working through contractors to get that work done. And then watershed restoration work will be getting started at the Corral Gulch project this September. So if you weren't aware, we're gonna, we have an incised channel. We're gonna take that back to being a wet meadow. And that is being led by the Watershed Center. Okay, we talked fires. Oh, and then staffing change. I need to let you know that Shasta Lake District Ranger Sarah Akridge will be leaving the Forest Service effective at the end of, near the end of August. And in her absence, Ben will be sliding over to keep that unit going until Rachel can find a permanent ranger. And that will include, Ben will take the lead then on the North Trinity County NEPA project as the line officer for that. Do want to take this opportunity to thank Sarah. She's done a lot of good work that across the forest and things that we've certainly benefited from here on the west side of the Shasta Trinity. Okay, and with that, that was a lot. We have a lot of planning going on. That's more planning than we've done in a long time. I'm super proud of our folks. We're over 15,000 acres of NEPA that's been authorized this year. With next year should be significantly more than that. So we're really excited about the future. Any questions for me?
I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I did want to share, I had reached out to Tara because someone had tagged me in a post on Facebook about some concerns about work being done in some of the recreation areas, camping areas. And, Tara mentioned there is a huge effort going on to try to maintain, restore health in the forest. And so that takes proactive efforts. And sometimes people see trees marked and can't understand, why would we be taking this tree? And I did in my post mention, but that you would be coming to speak and people could get more information directly from the people responsible, but also just mention the great work that I've seen you doing with the Trinity County Collaborative and others. And it was not that long ago that we adopted a policy statement, I guess if it was, that really laid out all the ways in which we've agreed we should work together and the standards by which we should manage these things. So I just wanted to be on record of saying that, I've seen that very concerted effort and that those groups coming together very well. And I appreciate you also coming here so regularly to keep us informed. And it's great that we have that open dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And to that, I would just like to add, I would share this in my board report, but Tara's going to go back to work. And so I would just like you to hear that, so quarterly, as you well know, I meet with Supervisor Berkey, and there are a number of local partners and agencies who have various questions and concerns that would not be appropriate at your level. So it's not a going over the head of our district ranger in any way. It's just appropriate there. And the common thread from those folks with their various specificity of concerns was, please let Supervisor Berkey know how much we appreciate our district ranger and the work that is done here, and wanted that compliment and that very sincere awareness to be carried forward.
Well,
So I wanted you to hear that.
Thank you very much.
And there also was a comment that just said, thank you so much for the Forest Service jumping on the Helena fire and not letting history repeat itself there. So thank you for that.
Tara, thank you very much, and say hello to Ben for all of us.
I sure will. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Sure
you.
appreciate working with all of you and getting things done, right? I'm tired of talking about doing things. I'm really excited about getting things done, and that takes all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tara.
Next, we will receive a presentation from the PARS 115 Combo Trust Performance Review for the 24-25 fiscal year. Please.
Hi, Layla Cassis, Director of Human Resources Risk Manager. We have the PARS people set up. Something came up last second. Sorry. And I just called, they were trying to get on the line. They're going to be Zooming in. So I wondering if we want to push it off or if we want to wait. Or what do we want to do?
Are they ready on Zoom?
Are they?
They were getting ready. So I don't, do you see them on Zoom? They're jumping on right now, sorry. Okay, we're waiting for you, so. Thank you.
You break-
Okay.
Ours team, are you online yet?
Yes, I am here, and I believe my colleague Alex will be on momentarily, and I see Dennis here as well.
Morning.
Good morning, guys. Are you just, let us know when you're ready to start the presentation. We've got the presentation up in the boardroom here. We can go through the slides, or you can share screen and go through the slides yourself, whatever your preference is.
Perfect. Alex, you have it up and running so that we can share it, or would we just use theirs?
I do have it up, but I think since it's already up, we can just queue for you guys to advance. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, sounds good. So we'll use the one that's already up and running.
Okay, we'll just go ahead and get
Good to
started then.
launch in?
Mhm.
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right, well, thank you for your patience, and we'll go ahead and get started to get us up and running here. So why don't we go ahead and advance to the first slide. Just as a high level, this is going to be a brief review of your combo trust, your 115 combo trust with PARS, as well as a review of the proposed updates to your investment policy statement, your IPS. So we can advance to the next slide. This is just a indicator of who is on the call today. My name is Matt Spooner. I'm a senior consultant here with PARS. My colleague Alex Irving is also on the call. She's a colleague of mine here at PARS and Client Services. Then Dennis Mullins, our partner with PFM Asset Management, is also on today's call. Andrew Brown, who is one of Dennis's colleagues at PFM, helped us prepare today's presentation as well. So this is the team that is represented within today's presentation. We can move to the next slide. This is a high-level view of what we call your trust team. You can think of PARS as being the quarterback of this team. We are the record keepers, we are the consultants, we are your central point of contact, and we're the ones that are monitoring, amongst other things, your compliance within this plan, but we clearly don't do everything. We have US Bank as our trustee. They're the ones holding the money in your trust, as well as PFM Asset Management, which Dennis is representing today on the call. And PFM Asset Management are the ones that are making investments on behalf of the county within this trust. So we can move on to the next slide as well. This is a high level of the trust assets. Right now, within the OPEB side, there's 2.6 million. Within the pension side, that has yet to be funded, but that's part of what we will be discussing today during the presentation. There are a variety of different benefits of the trust, but one of the ones that we have here is the economies of scale and the fact that we have a sliding fee schedule, with our trust, and so funding both sides of the trust is actually something that's beneficial for the county to consider doing, amongst other benefits of this trust. We can move to the next slide as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Alex at this point in time to cover off the OPEB pre-funding side of your program. She's then going to revert back to me to talk about the pension pre-funding side of your program in just a few short minutes. So Alex, we'll go ahead and revert over to you.
All right, thank you, Matt. And all right, we'll advance to the next slide here. So this page here is showing you an overview of the OPEB side of the 115 Trust as a whole. So some details we'll review together. Looking at the top of the page, you'll see the plan was effective back in July of 2006, so about 20 years back. Your plan administrator assigned to this trust is the Director of Human Resources. So this position is the one who is authorized to make changes to the amendments of this plan, make changes to the investment strategy, and elect other authorized personnel to submit contribution and reimbursement requests on their behalf. The current investment selection is the moderate strategic blend. This is an active strategy. We have both active and passive options, and the county has opted for active. And Dennis will go into that in a few moments when he touches on the investment performance. And the county is utilizing an individual account rather than a pooled account. As of June 30th of this year, we have activity data on the lower half of the page for you. The initial contribution to the OPEB side of the trust was made in January of 2007 for $102,000 and some change there. There have been total contributions of about $20.8 million. No disbursements, so no money has been taken out of the OPEB trust to date. Your net investment earnings at about $5.7 million, putting your final account balance as of the end of Q2, the end of the 2025 fiscal year, at $26,551,000 and some change. And if we advance to the next page, we'll see a graphical representation of that activity here. Again, this is as of June 30th, and you'll see in red contributions that have been received in the trust. So those initial contributions when the plan was set up, and then there was a break in funding until the 2020 fiscal year end, where we received that first contribution of 4.6 million, and then there have been subsequent contributions each fiscal year following that. No disbursements, as you see in yellow, no money has been taken out of the trust to date. You do have the ability to reimburse for your PAYGO, your benefit payments for OPEB for the current year and the year prior, and we'll touch on what those numbers look like when we view your actuarial in a moment. Your total assets on the far right fluctuating with interest. So we'll move to the next page. For sake of time, I'll pick things up a little bit. This is looking at your valuation for OPEB. You have a total of 278 active employees, 706 total employees accruing medical benefits. On the next page, looking at your valuation, your liability figures. So as of your latest ACFR available on your website, your total liability at 52 million, your assets at this snapshot in time, your fiduciary net position at 12.5 million, putting you at about a 23.9% funded ratio. If you look at the footnote at the bottom, as of June 30th of this year, with assets in the trust closer to 26.5 million, using that total OPEB liability figure to calculate your funding position, you are sitting more at a 50.8% funded ratio. And just a reminder that your benefit payment, your PAYGO amount that you're able to reimburse from the trust if there's ever a need is the 2.5 million figure there. All right. Moving on to the next page, this is your returns for the OPEB side of the trust going back to inception. You'll see your annualized rate of return is at 5.8% there, so around your discount rate. And you'll see the annual return specific for your account. We have included your individual account returns at the end of this presentation as well, but just wanted to include this graphical representation for you too. All right, I know we are limited on time, so I want to just advance again, and we'll review the pension side of the trust for you really quick.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Alex. Move on to the next slide as well. We can actually advance past this. This is the pension side, as Alex alluded to. We can go to the next slide as well. This is really just a high level look at, where you are currently at as far as your funded ratio right now. As of your last evaluation, you're at just under 60%. And you can see there that your annual employer contribution amount is going to grow by about 16%, just over 16% within the next few years, to about 10.7 million. So, right now, this is a potentially good time to start thinking about potentially pre-funding this side of the trust, because that side of the equation is continuing to ramp up for the county. But, of course, we can remain in touch with the county about their appetite for thinking about the pension side of the trust, as we continue our relationship, which has been longstanding. We can move on to the next slide as well. Again, some reasons to consider pension pre-funding, one of which is that second point, which is a pension rate smoothing tool. This, once again, will help you manage those fluctuations and some inevitable increases in the amount of your annual contribution. So there are a variety of reasons why funding or pre-funding pension is important, but that second point is one that we tend to see, frequently resonate with the agencies that we work with. We can move on to the next slide. So I'm going to go ahead and give the mic over to Dennis Mullins to cover your investment policy update that is being proposed and why it's being proposed, and a variety of details around that. So Dennis, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and advance to the next slide, please. When we manage investment portfolios for any institutional clients, it's good to have an investment policy statement between the two parties. It clarifies all of the roles and responsibilities for each party. It clarifies the goal of the portfolio and spells out in much more granular detail how the portfolio should be managed that goes way beyond what's in the contract. Let's go ahead to the next slide, please. It's good to hold each party to task. It's always good to have an investment policy on file for a couple of other reasons. Number one is these are created in a period of relative calm. And there are times when the market is scary. And we have been in meetings where we have talked about what are we trying to do with this portfolio. Values, stock prices, bond prices are going down. Things are very scary out there. What should we do? We pull this document out and we refer to it. Another reason for this is there is turnover in all organizations. As new members come on to every different organization involved in this trust, they can pick this document up and read it. So it's good. It's considered best practices. It's actually not legally required, but it is considered best practices by GFOA and many other organizations. Let's go to the next slide, please. 2 years ago, U.S. Bank made two purchases. U.S. Bank purchased the remaining assets of Union Bank of California. And I say remaining assets because U.S. Bank had purchased some of the assets of Union Bank of California about 10, 15 years ago. U.S. Bank completed that acquisition in the last couple of years, and that included purchasing Highmark Capital Management, who was your asset manager. U.S. Bank also purchased PFM Asset Management out of Philadelphia. You may be familiar with PFM. We manage a lot of operating funds and short-term fixed income and liquidity pools, including California Camp and many others like that around the country. We also brought that together with the institutional asset management team of U.S. Bank. That's where I came from. I've been working with PARS clients for 10 years through U.S. Bank. So I'm very familiar with the folks and the strategies at Highmark. And so what we did is we formed a PARS team. But I'll boil that all down to say, look, we've got a new organization. All of our investment policies were 10 or more years old. And it made good sense to update them, refresh them, take a new look at them So that's the main driver behind updating your investment policy. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide. The investment policy statement is pretty much the same. We're going to be renaming some of these objectives, not this one. You're in the moderate objective, which is basically 50-50. 50% stocks, 50% bonds. And so we're not changing the investment strategy you're in. We're not changing the name. We are changing the names of several others just because we had overlapping styles that were virtually the same. But all of your prohibited investments, the chain of control, and the duties and responsibilities will remain the same. We changed the upper and lower ranges of a couple of these bands around these target asset allocations. Again, we're bringing 3 organizations together. And, you know, there was a need to just kind of refresh that a little bit and make sure that we are all moving forward as one organization going forward. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. There will be no big changes in your portfolio. You won't notice any changes. We've already changed a few of the funds out. As we have brought these 3 teams together, we've got some new favorite funds. We're also always changing our funds a little bit anyway. We use mutual funds and exchange traded funds to manage this portfolio. It's the most cost-effective way to do that. None of the funds are proprietary, by the way. These are all the best funds out there in the world that we can find. And so, no big changes as a result of this. Next steps is we do need for someone there to sign the investment policy statement, and then we'll bring it to every investment review and review it and make sure that it is still relevant and appropriate. It can be changed at any time. But the key then is bring it into the meetings, review it, and make sure it's still current. So I've been talking really fast, went through a couple of slides here really quickly. Does anybody have any questions?
When we're done.
Okay. And then there's a statement on the bottom of this page that basically states, GFOA best practices have an investment policy, review it on a periodic basis. Okay. Let's keep going to the next section. I think there's an investment review. Keep going, please. Okay. And then one more. One more, please. I mentioned PFM Asset Management. We are the combination of PFM's OCIO business plus Highmark Capital Management plus the institutional asset management arm of U.S. Bank. PFM is wholly owned by U.S. Bank and is the institutional investment management arm of U.S. Bank. Next page, please. One more, please. Quick review of your investment performance. I'll take just a moment to go through what has happened in the markets recently. This is a snapshot of performance benchmarks as of June 30. If you were watching the markets this year, you saw the first quarter large cap stocks pulled back down about 6%. I'm sorry, about 4.5%. And then in the second quarter, and that first quarter was January, February, and March, obviously, there wasn't much in the way of tariff policy disclosure at that point, but we were in a period of what we referred to as policy fog. The transition of administrations didn't happen until late January, and so you had, a blend of 2 administrations in there, and then you had the questions about who will be secretary of whatever, what will their emphasis be, what direction are we going? A lot of uncertainty. The market pulled back a little bit. Not a big surprise after the S&P 500 was up so strongly last year, calendar year 2024. We saw a bit of a pullback, and then on April 1, we saw Liberation Day, we saw the announcement of tariffs, and we saw the market start to go down quite a bit. The market actually had peaked in February, and then from its peak in February to the bottom, the S&P 500 was down 19%. So we almost had a full-fledged bear market in there. But then a strange thing happened in the middle of the second quarter. We saw a couple of threatened tariffs get pushed back 90 days, particularly those in China, involving China. And we saw the market respond very well. So top line across here for the quarter, S&P 500, 10.94. Year to date, that brought it back up to 6.2. For the trailing year, 15.16. If you look out at the 5-year, 7-year, and 10-year numbers here, you see 7 and 10, 14 and 13%. Those are remarkably good numbers for the S&P 500, including the year 2022, which was terrible as interest rates went up. The S&P 500 was down 18% that year. And included in those numbers is that decline of 18%, and you still averaged 14 and 13% a year over that long stretch. So it was a really, really good period for stocks. If you drop all the way down to fixed income, Bloomberg US aggregate across the top line there, you see really low numbers. In fact, the 5-year number is negative. So for the 5 years ended June 30 of 2025, bonds are still negative. They had such a terrible 2022. We're almost back to even. But now the good news is going forward, we think bonds are going to do a lot better than they have done. Remember, you're roughly 50-50 in your asset mix. We care equally about the stock market and the bond market. We think stocks are going to do a little less well than they have done over the last 7 and 10 years. We think bonds are going to do a lot better. So overall, we think the portfolio returns are going to be similar to what you've seen. Your long-term compound annual growth rate is 5.84, as shown back on page 10. We think that's indicative of what you can expect out of this portfolio in the long run. Next slide, please. Do me a favor, skip through the next 4 or 5 slides. Keep going, keep going. This is a market overview. I'm going to weave this into my overall presentation just to keep us moving ahead. Let's go forward at least a couple of more slides then. Okay, more. One more. Okay, one more. There we go. All right, so let's get into your portfolio. You moved out of a pool, as you're aware, into a standalone portfolio. And because of that, we're not allowed by regulation to link the returns there. And so we start the performance over, and we can continue to give you the long-term performance. PARS has already done that back on page 10. Your long-term performance is 5.84% per year. But now that you're in your own standalone portfolio, you can see the total value here, $26.5 million. For the quarter, 5.62. That's a pretty good quarter for a 50-50 portfolio. And then since inception, 5.75 back to September. Year-to-date, calendar year-to-date, 2025, 5.91. So that's just under 6% for a 6-month return. You're annualizing at about 12% a year. This has been a good year so far. We actually don't think it's going to continue at this rate for the remainder of the year. So we've probably seen most of the gains this year. You can see domestic equities on the dark blue line, your experience. Your domestic equities are up 11% in the quarter, 5.77 so far this year. And then on the gray lines, you'll see here, there's a lot of information on this page, so I'll go through really quickly. On the gray lines, you'll see here, those are your holdings. Columbian Contrarian Core, Putnam Core Equity, Schwab US Large Cap ETF. We use a blend of ETFs and mutual funds. The beauty of these mutual funds is they trade with no commission. Very easy to adjust the portfolio. There's no, we call it friction. There's no cost. ETFs trade throughout the day like a stock. They trade with a commission. But again, the benefit is they trade throughout the day. So if I trade it, right now it's 12:52 Eastern time, I can trade it right now and I know what price I'm going to get. Mutual funds all trade at the end of the day. Little bit of a disadvantage there because I don't know exactly where the market's going to end up today. So I like having both in the portfolio, if that makes sense. Also, again, we manage for you as a fiduciary, which prohibits self-dealing and means that every decision we make must be in your best interest. So there are no proprietary funds in here, with the exception of the money market fund, which has been fully disclosed, and you don't pay an investment management fee on any assets in the money market fund because that is a U.S. bank managed fund. That's a lot of information at light speed. I'll go ahead and stop right there and take any questions you may have.
Richard, you have a question?
I'll just wait till the whole presentation's done.
Go ahead and continue.
Okay. There's just a couple of more charts on the portfolio here. These will develop out, over time and start to fill up. I'm going to go ahead and conclude my presentation there. Matt, I'll turn it back over to you. And then
Sure.
I'll be
Yeah.
around for any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. That actually does conclude the presentation. This was included in an appendix should we have time to get there. And Dennis, clearly wanted to make sure that you saw your returns and your performance. So we can go ahead and conclude the presentation there for, the sake of time. And of course, our team is here to field any questions that may have arisen as a result of the presentation. So thank you so much for your time. And again, we're here to address any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, I think, as you said, there's a lot of great information. We had a chance to look at it ahead of time if we chose to, and some people are more used to looking at this kind of data than others. I would just appreciate if you could boil this down to 3 key takeaway points for people that rely on this for their future income and don't live in financial geek world. So 3 key takeaways.
Sure. Dennis, do you want to handle the first couple regarding maybe IPS and then maybe some of these investments as well?
Yeah. A couple of key takeaways. If I had to describe this portfolio in very short order, 50-50, what's that mean? Half stocks, half bonds, right? I think that's the most important indication of the overall risk and risk appetite and how aggressive or conservative is the portfolio. The second I would use is that long-term average compound annual growth rate back on page 10. I like hanging on to that 5.84. And then that chart on page 10 is actually a really good chart because it's a histogram, right? A bar chart. It shows you the ups and downs that you've been through. We know we're going to have some great years. We know we're going to have some really bad years. And yet the key is stay in the market, right? This is a long-term strategic 50-50 mix. When you have bad years, just hang in there. We're long-term investors, and the stock market's at all-time highs right now. That's another way of saying that it's made up every loss it's ever incurred. The question is, do we have time to wait? And the answer here, you've already been in this since 2007. Yeah, you have time to wait. We're long-term investors. OPEBs tend to have a 20, 30, 40-year runway. So we're long-term investors. So number one, it's 50-50 mix. Number two, long-term average rate of return is 5.84. And number three, I'd go back to actually your actuary's information that shows your discount rate is 6. What we try to do is make sure that the risk profile of the portfolio matches up with the discount rate of the portfolio. They don't have to be exact, right? Your discount rate is 6, your long-term rate of return is 5.84. We think the portfolio is going to continue at a rate about like that. The significance of that is if you were fully funded right now and you had all of your liabilities covered, you would have to continue earning 6% a year to remain fully funded. And so that discount rate is a projection of all future cash outlays discounted back to the present, right? It's the present value of all future cash outlays. And to calculate a present value, you have to have a discount rate. And that discount rate that your actuary has assigned here is 6%. That's about what we're seeing across the board. It sounds appropriate. It sounds customary, it doesn't jump out at us. So I see an alignment between the portfolio risk and the discount rate. I see a long-term investment pattern here, long-term strategic investment approach that you've stayed the course, and it seems to be working very well.
Questions, Rick?
Yeah, I think the only thing I like to hear a little bit on is, we talk about the percent funded that we are. And some of the numbers were a little confusing because there was some things about 0% funded and then 60% funded and 50% funded. And if you can just speak to, it's possible that people could look at this and say, well, I'm a little nervous. I've only got, our plans are only 50% funded. What does that mean?
Yeah,
And-
go back a
and so I
couple of
think it would just
pages.
be helpful to kind of speak into that. Obviously, there's been
Yeah.
a huge turn on the way that the county has been investing into these plans since 2019, and it's absolutely heading in the right direction. No money's being taken out, but I just, again, that really kind of key takeaway level view of that so that people understand what should I take away from this update?
Go to page 9, please. Very important chart here. Again, this is where I got your discount rate, but see, the present value of total projected liabilities is that top line, 52 million. You have set aside your fiduciary net position 12 million, but right now it's more like 26, right? Because this is your last actuarial valuation, which is June of 22. So we have to make some assumptions here, but you've put about half of all of the future outlays aside. You are way ahead of the average OPEB that we see, not only in the state of California, but also nationwide. I don't have a good feel for the average, but it is quite common that we review investments for agencies that are funded in the single digits. Very normal for us to see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%. If there is an average, I would guess it might be somewhere around 15 to 20%. But you're in a very strong funded position at approximately 50%. And again, I'm getting that 50% by saying, as of your June 30 of 2022 actuarial valuation, you were at 23.9, but you've put in a bunch more money since then. So now you're up to 26 million. And the present value of your future outlays at that time was 52 million. So you're in very good shape.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I just think those
And
kinds
to
of
that,
big takeaways are important because,
Yeah.
we often deal with our financial challenges here in Trinity County, and for those who support all of us here in the county through county staff positions, I think it's helpful to understand where this part of our financials stand. And so it's really encouraging to hear that. Thank you.
Mhm. And to that point, if I can just add on, if you jump forward to slide 13, just to briefly cover your pension obligations, you are at nearly 60% funded as of your last AV within, your pension obligations. And so that puts you in really good stead there as well. We tend to see, anywhere between, 50 to 80% when it comes to this. And so being in that range is a healthy range to be in as far as funded within your pension obligations. Clearly, that obligation is going to be rising as far as an annual contribution in the years to come, which is why you might want to consider pre-funding for pension obligations as well. But as far as your funded ratio, you're also in really good standing.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Any of the other board members have any questions? Thank you very much.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
We'll now move into the public comment section. This time is for information from the public on matters not appearing on this agenda or within the consent calendar. All comments are limited to 3 minutes and must pertain to matters within the jurisdiction of this board. When addressing the board, please state your name for the record and address as the board, and address the board as a whole through the chair. No action or discussion will be conducted on matters not listed on the agenda. However, the chair may refer the subject matter to the appropriate department for follow-up or schedule the matter on a subsequent board agenda. So just a little change to that today. We do have something on closed session that we are going to let them make public comment first. I ran that by Amanda, and it's fine, just so we can get the service providers out there in the field quicker. They can go ahead and make their public comments and then continue their service. Go right ahead.
My name is Callie Rowland. It's PO Box 2236, Weaverville, California is my address, 96093. I wasn't nervous until right now,
Don't worry about it, you're fine.
but I live here in Trinity County and I have several jobs. I do free government phones for people. I own Callie's Cleaning. Maybe you've seen my Adopt a Highway sign on the way to Reading or on the way back. And I'm also a caregiver. I have been for about 20 years. However, I've worked as an IHSS caregiver since January. And I just wanted, obviously, you guys are doing a good job with planning for the future of our county. Just, this is the first board meeting I've been to and I was paying attention. And so that obviously matters, the future of our county to all of you. And so good job. But what I want to do is try to present a little bit of the reason I have so many jobs is because in order to afford to be a caregiver for IHSS, I have to have that many jobs to make a living. The IHSS almost costs me more doing that caregiving than I make at it, honestly. I don't know any caregiver that does 8-hour days and gets regular income that way. And we have unique challenges in Trinity County. People are far out. They don't have phones that work or service, things like that. So it's involved. And we don't get paid for, okay, let me give you an example. And just imagine this for yourself. If you're unfortunate, or most of us are going to end up in a situation where we need help and we need care, unless we're extremely lucky. So I have a lady in Douglas City, 2 clients in the same house. And in February, I think it was, there was a huge snowstorm and the power goes out at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I notice and I wake up and I call their landline at the house. And of course, they can't answer it because it's powered by electricity. And so I have to get up. I mean, I don't have to, but I feel compelled to because she's on a breathing machine that is electric and their heat is electric. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm driving through the snowstorm, worried about if my tires are going to be okay to get me there because I can't afford tires just to start their generator. And that's the kind of thing that is not, I don't know how to put it in a way that it's important to have that safety of knowing that somebody's going to be there. And that's what Trinity County does. We take care of each other, whether it's the fire, the emergency workers, the clerks of the courthouse, you guys. I mean, we take care of each other. And for the IHSS not to be fully supported and be one of those careers that people want to do it because we have our basic needs taken care of. We don't, none of us, including yourselves, I assume, do this for the money. We do it because we love where we live and the people that we live with.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Hi, Board. My name is Madeline Clark. I'm actually a Shasta County resident. I live at 2829 Leland Avenue. Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. I'm here to speak today on behalf of in-home supportive services workers who are the frontline caregivers who provide essential care and dignity to our most vulnerable residents, seniors, and people with disabilities who wish to remain in their homes safely. I'd also like to make a special thank you to the board for allowing us to speak ahead right now so that these folks can get back to work. Really do appreciate the exception that you guys made for us. IHSS workers are the backbone of community-based care, right? They allow people to live with independence, avoid institutionalization, and stay connected with their families and their communities. Without them, the cost to the county and state would financially and socially be far greater of a cost. Yet despite the critical nature of their work, IHSS workers in Trinity are paid poverty wages. Many of them live paycheck to paycheck, struggling to afford basic necessities, even while doing the hard, compassionate work of caring for others. This is a major problem. Let me be clear, this is not just a labor issue, this is also a moral one. When we fail to pay caregivers the living wage, we send a message that their work is not valued. We also risk losing them continuously to other industries that pay more, and at this point, we're even making less than fast food workers, right? A wage increase for workers is an investment, not only in fair pay and economic stability for workers, but in health, safety, and dignity of those that they serve at home. It keeps people employed locally, reduces turnover, and strengthens our care infrastructure. In our rural community like this, where access to care is already very limited, we cannot afford to lose any more of the workforce here that are taking care of the most vulnerable. I urge this board to prioritize a wage increase for IHSS workers in Trinity. Let's be a county that values care, respects labor, and upholds dignity for all, from those receiving to care to those who are providing it. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else from your group that'd like to speak? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I will open up public comment before closed session again later today. So I thank you guys, and if you want to get back to work, we appreciate your work. Say it again?
Oh, should we just take a break? Finish public comment?
Can't you wait that long?
Yeah.
We will continue with public comment.
Morning. It's perfectly timed. Badette Vanderwide, Lewiston. Good morning, supervisors. I'd like to address, the perpetual staffing issues that plague our county. Let me begin with the metaphor. Imagine a relationship where one partner sees dysfunction and offers insight, solutions to heal, evolve, and strengthen the bond, but instead of being heard, they're dismissed, diminished, and gaslit, not because they're wrong, but because change would require accountability. That's the daily reality inside Trinity County for staff. As former staff, from admins to senior planners, we've brought forward real solutions to recurring problems to staffing issues. But instead of dialogue, we were met with canned responses from county council, legal code regurgitated as if it's ethical, and used more to silence us than to actually serve us. This isn't governance, it's gaslighting. It's exactly what we just heard back here. And it's metastasized to the root, and the evidence is we are losing staff, and we can't fill these positions. And Trinity County is collapsing, lawsuits stack up, staff is vanishing, senior roles are retiring, and leaving us mid-crisis. We have a problem, and I've tried to address this quietly while on staff, but here we are. Nothing changed. Here are two examples I lived through on staff that greatly diminished my trust and faith in this county. First Amendment auditors. In November 2023, I was harassed by a masked man who filmed me without consent and posted it to YouTube and now has over 500,000 views. What did HR say? I should have walked away and let him film me. Nope, I fought back. And county council, they protected his First Amendment right, not mine, not our staff, not our safety, and certainly not our privacy. Where are my rights as staff? Where are our rights to be paid fair wages? Number two, the cannabis bias. It's got to stop. This county still weaponizes cannabis internally and externally. I've witnessed staff conflicted to even display an image of a cannabis leaf in the cannabis division. I was personally censored for wearing a shirt with one by HR. Leadership continues to treat cannabis with ignorance, fear, and shame. If our leaders are still stuck in the gateway drug or it smells mindset, you're operating from an outdated narrative that science has long since evolved. That tells us everything about your ability or inability to evolve, let alone lead a collective forward. Trinity County has the potential to be a rural model for innovation, agricultural healing, and economic regeneration. And that future can't grow if the root remains diseased, and right now we're diseased. I'm going to keep coming up here week after week until we choose to change, until we choose to evolve and think in a higher intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment in the room? Dan, how are you today?
Pretty good. About you?
Good.
Good to see everybody, chair, board, staff. Thanks for letting me in the building. I'm here because the 23-mile Xenia Lake Mountain Road has been neglected for quite some time now. I'm telling you, as Kenton Xenia volunteer fire chief, that our response time on this road is probably doubled. because of the conditions of the road. There are enough potholes that most of the time it's impossible to dodge them. And we can't tear the truck up and respond to another call. Grader hasn't been on the road and since before the August complex fire. The brush in the ditches are probably 4 to 6 foot tall. We've lost approximately 6 foot on the outside of the edge of the road where the brush is growing through the chip seal. So you take a narrow road and take about 6 feet off it. It's a real pain with logging trucks and everybody else. I need to agendize this possibly, get it on the agenda and try and figure out a solution to fix this problem. We don't ask for a perfect road, just one that's safely passable. The grader would be great, just, pull the ditches and clean off the outside of the road. And then the Durapatch machine actually is pretty affordable. That blows like a chip seal base out of a truck, just oil and rock and blow it in the potholes, and it fills them pretty good. And it's cheaper than asphalt or something like that. Money is what I always hear is an issue for out there. So my company alone, we cut 12 million board feet in that area last year and we put basically $84,000 in the general fund. Well, back of that would be kind of cool. Basically just please help me get this problem on, agendize it so we can work on the problem and come up with a solution or a resolution that will kind of help everybody in work. And thank you guys.
Dan, thank you very much. Any other public comment in the room?
I would suggest we put that on the agenda at some point if we can.
Do we have any public comment on Zoom?
Ben Kellogg?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Good morning, supervisors and staff and the CAO. One of this county's biggest problems, as previous people have stated this morning, is our cost of living. This is an issue that we all hear about on a consistent basis, whether it's food prices, low housing inventory that drives prices up, or the price of gas. We've complained for years, even decades, and nothing changes. Today, I asked the Trinity County Board of Supervisors to direct staff, specifically the CAO and the district attorney, to open up an investigation looking into possible price fixing and monopolistic behavior pertaining to Weaverville gas stations under the county's power using the Cartwright Act. Our DA would also consult with the California's Attorney General, also where their purview falls under. Our gas prices never change, and when they do, all the gas station prices change in unison. Perhaps a few cents to barely under $5 a gallon, even when crude prices drop by $20 to $30 a barrel, as we saw earlier in the year. Gas prices are between $1 and $1.50 more here than they are in Reading. People say, well, it's because we live in the mountains, so they have to truck it up here. That was more true decades ago when 299 wasn't widened and we didn't have such a robust supply chain build out up here. Trucks drive through Trinity County and specifically Weaverville on their way to the coast as a last stop to deliver gas. We're not the last stop on a gas tanker's travel. Prices aren't higher on the coast using they have to truck it here theory. Gas prices in Eureka today, checking Gas Buddy, were between 10 and 30 cents cheaper than in Weaverville. Filling my truck up in Reading cost me around $68 compared to over 100 in Weaverville. That's not chump change. It really isn't. It affects everyone. Trinity County residents deserve better, and we need our county to stand up for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment on Zoom?
I show no other raised hands.
Take a 5-minute break now. CEO Tuthill, we just dropped our price of gas to $4.75. What he's getting after, it's a non. reports and announcements. Any reports from the department heads? How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Good morning, Board.
Good
and,
morning.
Chair. I'm Dan Reed, Chief Information Officer of Trinity County Information Technology. And I've prepared a report, just a very high-level overview of some of the current and upcoming initiatives that we're working on in the IT department. So if you have any questions or would like more detail on any of these points, feel free to interrupt or ask at the end. Either way, I'm fine with. This report provides an overview of key initiatives currently underway within the Information Technology Department. I said that. Current projects, domain consolidation and email migration. Historically, behavioral health is operated on a separate domain and Microsoft 365 tenant, creating barriers to collaboration with other departments. We are nearing completion of our initiative to consolidate the county's Active Directory domains and migrate email accounts to a unified Microsoft 365 tenant. This consolidation will reduce administrative overhead, improve interdepartmental collaboration, and enhance overall security. Centralized log management and threat detection. We have implemented a centralized logging solution. The system enables real-time threat detection and helps us meet audit and compliance standards related to user access and network activity. Deployment automation and asset management. We are using Microsoft Deployment Toolkit along with tools such as PDQ Connect and Ninja One to streamline software and system deployments across departments. We're also improving lifecycle management and inventory tracking for all county IT assets. Ninja One includes a help desk ticketing platform, which has now been rolled out for most county departments. As we continue to build out its capabilities, we are transitioning all new help desk requests to the Ninja One system. This will improve efficiency, increase visibility into departmental performance, and enhance our ability to measure and deliver customer value. Security awareness campaign. We continue to utilize KnowBe4 for security awareness training and have observed a measurable improvement in network security. As part of our outreach, we hosted a booth at HHSA's recent Education Day to highlight phishing awareness and cybersecurity best practices. User engagement was high and feedback was positive. And some upcoming projects. We are forming a web presence enhancement work group, departmental website editors to improve county website usability and community engagement. This includes enhancing content accessibility and exploring improved integration with public services. The kickoff meeting is scheduled for next week. TeamViewer Tensor deployment. We're transitioning from Splashtop to TeamViewer Tensor for secure, scalable remote support. This upgrade will enhance access control and improve IT support responsiveness. Core network infrastructure upgrades. Planned switch replacements will improve bandwidth and reliability at key sites. VLAN restructuring is also planned to optimize voice over IP performance and improve data segregation. And Capstone Project, County Cloud Governance and Cost Optimization. As part of the California County Information Services Directors Association, or CISDA, Technology Executive Credential Program, I'm leading a capstone project to develop a cloud governance framework. The goal is to optimize cloud usage, control costs, and ensure compliance across departments. Research and findings from this project are already informing our ongoing migration to Office 365. And we have some challenges and opportunities. We're faced with staffing limitations. We continue to operate with a small team. Cross-training and targeted recruitment will be necessary to meet growing service demands. Aging infrastructure. Several sites continue to rely on legacy systems. We are prioritizing phased upgrades to reduce long-term risk. And cyber threats. Ongoing phishing attempts and evolving cybersecurity threats require continuous monitoring, proactive defenses, and user education. And in conclusion, the IT department remains committed to strengthening the county's technology infrastructure, improving cybersecurity, and supporting departments in delivering essential public services. I look forward to keeping the board informed and welcome any feedback or direction you may have.
Does the board have any questions?
Thank you. Just one, and maybe it's a little bit for you and for CEO Tuthill. I know when I was early on meeting with budget meetings, I think it was, and with Michael Singleton, one of the things that came up is that there were departments that were moving forward with technology-based initiatives, but they weren't bringing Michael into the loop so he could guide that and make sure that the right technology platform decisions and such were made. In a more recent meeting, when something like that was being done, it was very clear that there had been the collaboration. So I just was wanting to see, do you feel like that's really now, you're very well aligned with all the department heads, and when they're considering anything that's going to impact the infrastructure, the hardware, the software, the network, that you're in the loop so that you can help guide that?
Yes, I definitely agree with that perspective. There's been great improvement on that front. And being recently in this role of CIO, I did take the opportunity to meet with department heads from every department and discuss any upcoming initiatives they saw on the horizon and where IT could get involved early in the process for the benefit of the department and just for our own awareness. And I think the communication has been very good, and we are abreast of the upcoming needs of the departments.
Great.
Another initiative I didn't mention in this one, we've got kind of a lot going on, and I haven't, this is my first time reporting to you all, so these are only some of our initiatives. I saved some for later, I guess. But another upcoming initiative that we will have is a IT steering committee that will be coming. There are some other things we need to get to first, data governance strategy committee, but we will have an IT steering committee, which will allow another opportunity to bring departments to the table and work in collaboration with IT on the direction that we'll be moving together as a county moving forward on the technology front.
That's great. Thank you. And thank you specifically for the website piece. I heard your just a little brief description about that, but we invested in this new platform, which is great. I know that a lot of work went into that. And I also know that keeping it or bringing it to its full potential and keeping it there means the individual stakeholders understanding what they can do, how to do it, and leveraging that. So I really appreciate you making this backside investment on what we did on the front end. I think that will pay off in a big way.
Thank you. Yes, we're very excited about that. I think there's no question that we're not utilizing the platform to its full potential. Some departments are doing better than others, but we've got great engagement so far. We're just now scheduling the kickoff meeting. That's scheduled for next week. So we haven't had any meetings yet, but we've had great response from the departments of selecting delegates to attend and participate in this work group. And it'll just be a great opportunity for the departments that are a little more well-versed in usage of the platform. They can share what's working with them, with others in attendance at these meetings. Lucas Bray from our IT department, he has quickly become our subject matter expert on all things with the Civic Plus platform.
Nice.
So he will be spearheading this committee or work group. I'm calling that one a work group. And I expect really good things out of it. So
That's great.
look forward
Thanks
to seeing
again.
what it produces. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much. I haven't had a chance to congratulate you on moving up. When Mike moved out there, I know there was plenty of applicants for that job, and you were the best. And I always like to see a homegrown person keep the job in the county. And you did, and I congratulate you for that. Keep up the hard work. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Liam. I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I hope to serve the county for many years to come. So thank you. Very much.
You deserved it. Okay, reports from CEO Tuthill.
Thank you, Chair. Got a couple things. So as I think you're all aware, last week we had department budget meetings all week. And I think we're making good progress on closing a $2.8 million gap from what departments requested versus what revenues we're projecting for fiscal year 25-26. I felt departments did a good job and submitted budget requests based upon the level of service they want their department to provide to the public. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough revenue to provide that desired level of service. However, this fiscal year budget situation is much better off than we were in the previous fiscal year. Just for comparison's sake, we were trying to close about an $8 million gap the previous year, where this year we're at about $2.8 million. Our overall county operations are taking place based upon the actual available budget. we have, which is some of the reason for that smaller gap. And then we've been working very diligently and in a collaborative effort on some new revenue sources that we're going to be able to realize in 25, 26. So very excited about that and grateful for the work that's been put into that so far. Over the next 30 days or so, we're working to basically reconcile all of the different department needs and items that took place in those budget meetings as we prepare the final budget we will present for board consideration on the 23rd of September. That budget book will be available for all members of the public and all members of the board on no later than the 8th of September. So we're diligently working towards those dates right now. And I look forward to those budget discussions on the 23rd of September. The next topic is some members of the county staff participated in the North State Behavioral Health Leadership Collaborative, which was led by RCRC over in Shasta County on the 17th of July. There were 11 counties represented by CEOs, sheriffs, probation chiefs, and behavioral health professionals. This was a first meeting to partner and collaborate on integration of behavioral health into the multiple justice-involved initiatives that are ongoing throughout the state right now. There were three main topics included. One was the upcoming BCHIP, which is the Behavioral Health Continuum Infrastructure Program, bond application, the mobile crisis response overall concept that all counties are working through right now, and then the CalAIM justice system integration. And I'm very happy to report that Trinity County is a very active participant, not only in this collaborative forum, but all of these topics. And we had good representation at that meeting, and it was good to see all our colleagues from those other counties there represented as well. The county staff that's been involved in the homeless encampment focus met on July 22nd, and we established a quarterly meeting, update routine, some focus items, information sharing, and we're in the process of finalizing an appropriate name for the group. Came up with some good options so far, but we're kind of honing it down on that appropriate aspect of it. So that'll be forthcoming, and I'll let you know what that is at a later date. The last camp walk focused on the Hayfork area, and we will continue the collaborative multi-organizational approach as we continue this effort. As you may be aware, there was a presidential executive order issued on the overall homelessness topic a couple of weeks ago. It's still kind of unknown what the exact impact that'll have within the state and then obviously locally, but it is anticipated that there will be some forthcoming adjustments from both a legislative and a state focus on this topic in the future. I'm sure Supervisor Lutweiler might touch on this topic a little bit in his report, but we did have a good visit from the CSAC president, and we're able to share some of the county focus areas and some of those county operations with the CSAC leadership. And I'm optimistic, and hopeful that they will continue to advocate on our behalf at the state and federal level. And they have a much better insight into, some of the challenges that we have in a small, rural, really frontier type of county such as Trinity. But it was overall very, very good visit, and grateful for the staff that was able to participate and take time to spend with the CSAC president. I've got a quality of service statement that from our recorder office. I always like to read these. This was from the employee is Lisa, and all the the comments are very good and helpful. Person was able to explain everything to satisfaction. Very good overall experience, and this individual who provided this comment personally wrote on there, great experience, exclamation point. So thank you, Lisa, to your dedication and efforts on behalf of the county. And that is all I have right now.
Thank you, CEO Tudhill. Reports from members of the board, and I will start out with thanking CEO Tudhill for mentioning the homeless encampment situation there in Hayfork and the quarterly visits that they will get. Also, he mentioned meeting with the leadership of CSAC, who Supervisor Lutweiler is the primary on. Myself and Supervisor Cox met with some of their team at the golf course. It was a shorter meeting and I think we liked. I tried to explain the Trinity Management Council, which is my portion of talking to them. It's something very hard to describe in a half hour or so, but you know, I think they're great people. I think they're on our side. I think Rick's doing a great job working with them, and hope to continue to work with them as successful as we have in the past. And I'll pass that on to Supervisor Cox.
Thank you. Regarding LAFCO, this was what I had previously mentioned, that I needed to miss a collaborative meeting, and Supervisor Carpenter Harris and I collaborated. She took the collaborative and I attended a 2-hour training with LAFCO. Overall, I would call it productive. It was at a little bit higher level than I had anticipated or wished, but you don't know until you attend. So what I took away, I did appreciate. The Fire Safe Council just wishes to express more publicly, so I'm going to help be that voice a bit. The commending of the Forest Service, which I already provided on their quick response on the Helena fire, and also CAL FIRE for their excellent job of stopping the Rush Creek fire. I think within this, what I see when I sit and ponder in my own mind I just think about the PTSD that our residents feel when another fire starts. And when it begins, we have no idea. Will we call that a 5 acres and done, or will we see something that we again don't want to? And so when they are extinguished so readily, it is greatly appreciated on many levels. Thank you. With the CSAC leadership conversations, I did share with them my aim to find a means by which to navigate through current Caltrans policies to the crosswalk safety that we need. And so I already have a conversation with an individual who is providing, well, really is asking for more clarity at this time. So we'll see what can be provided and how that can process, and then also with RCRC, that's ongoing. With regard to RCRC specifically, an update on this has been a little while, so pulling it back to the front of our minds, we did collaborate on a regional planning grant for zero emission vehicles. So unfortunately, sorry to announce that we were not successful during that last round, and as it turns out, no zero emission vehicle readiness plans were awarded. RCRC staff are looking for other sources because they truly feel that plans are needed. There are state funds for zero emission vehicle development out there, even though federal funds have been pulled back. So more to come as they explore that. Want to remind folks that the photo contest is underway. I would just love to see some Trinity County submissions when we sit and vote on which picture wins. And then also the annual auction basket. I've reached out to those who contributed to that basket last year. Be reminded that our basket had a Trinity County visit focus with kind of an adventure stay package. That basket sold for $3,000, and so our goal was achieved. And the bidding war was the most fun. I've told you before, but I love to say it. It was so fun to watch the RCRC CEO and one of the policy advocates fight over that basket. And the person who backed off didn't really want to, but allowed that to happen. So this is a wonderful focus that we can use to help kind of build our travel and exploration and advertise ourselves to our neighbors. So participation in that basket by those who did and those who would like to join this year would be welcome and appreciated. I will be at the RCRC board meeting on Wednesday in Sacramento. And also that will be the first in-person meeting of the recruitment and retention ad hoc. And I have several staff members speaking into what they would like to bring to that table, which is appreciated. Regarding out-of-county travel, I met Friday with Forest Supervisor Berkey. There were a number of items on the agenda she and I shared of concern to various entities within the county. And as usual, she addressed each and is following up on those that need forward attention. Regarding the Minersville boat ramp, the word from the Division of Boating and Waterways is that they've lost their engineers. And so the project is stuck at the 65% design review stage. The request of the forest is that DBOW would allow the forest to pivot to their design firm and let them complete the designs up to the 90% stage, understanding that DBOW will be able to, again, dip back in with their comments at that point. Otherwise, the project is at a standstill, and meanwhile, costs continue to climb. So as suggested by our forest leadership, I have reached out to Senator McGuire's staff requesting his intervention and advocacy toward that end. There have been those who have asked that the Trinity Journal could be formally the paper of record for all things Forest Service related. And the answer to that is that there can only be one paper of record per forest, not per ranger district. But with that, in order to meet the needs that have been requested here, each time there is something to be published, Supervisor Berkey directs that will hit the Trinity Journal. And so I appreciate that flexibility. And it is an extra step they don't have to take, and they are. With that, I just would announce that I will be needing 6 weeks of medical leave starting on August 15th. I have let board members know that, and I'll be reaching out to each of the executive directors for those committees on which I serve to make sure that my space is covered during that time. Thank you for pitching in and helping me through this. And that is the end of my report.
Supervisor Brownfield.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I spent the last week or so at budget meetings, which was wonderful for me to have the opportunity to sit in and see how these budgets are put together and review and get to hear from the departments, get to know the people in the departments a little bit better, and work closely with the CAO and on learning on how this budget is put together. So that's crucial for me, and I'm really thankful and grateful that I got the opportunity to do that and that you all let me do that. So that'll really help in the future, I think. I want to thank the fire departments on how fast they got to the Post Mountain fire, and how CAL FIRE was so wonderful about getting a hold of me and letting me know how things were going in my district. And I'm impressed at the reach from them and how fast they got this fire out. So thank you all if you're listening out there. I got to meet with the Sheriff's Department, and Sheriff Saxon has been wonderful talking about solutions for our safety up in the 5th District. And I think we're getting really close to some wonderful ideas there. So I'm excited about that. And our roads, we will constantly be working on our roads, but we are as a community coming together to figure out the best way to move forward on solutions with the county as our back. So, and then I had met with Drew from the Building and Planning Department, and it's been wonderful learning from him on and teaching our constituents what the zoning, the next phase of the economic development plan will be with zoning. And so that's been good. And there's a meeting coming up in Hayfork for our people that can reach there. So that's no out of town travel. And thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
Hello, thank you for the chance to do an update with everyone. I would say the bulk of my update is going to be around my attendance of the NACO conference in Philadelphia. I attended that July 10th through July 15th. It was a very good conference. I'd say there was a lot of energy at this particular one with so many things going on in the federal government. There was just a lot of communication and concerns and excitements, and as people were sharing, their perception of how things will roll out and all of that. It was actually probably the most high energy NACO I have attended yet. It was quite interesting. So during that NACO event, I attended, of course, the public lands meetings as I am on that caucus. And just so folks know, about 70% of our nation's counties are considered rural counties, and of those, 62% of our counties are public lands counties that receive funding through the PILT program. So, very, very similar in terms of the acreage that we have that's limited because of our public lands here in Trinity County, but then also across the western frontier. And then the conversations are always heavily weighted towards fire, fire, fuel reductions, homeowners insurance, county road problems because of wildfire. And then a new topic that everyone was really interested in is this idea of the federal government supporting in some way the gateway communities, for those communities that sit on the edges of national parks, but then also on high recreation federal lands, working together with those communities to be able to help provide the services that are necessary to keep all of those visitors safe, and the roads and different things that support the visitation to those federal lands, and how can we partner even more. So that was a good conversation. Some of the other topics that are kind of hot on the list right now is the ability to use public lands um, for AI energy needs, and how that may look for some of the counties that have public lands, and the ability for those units to be built on those public lands and then serve through AI, because we all know the amount of energy AI needs is tremendous. So that was one. The other hot topic in the Western region communities was the issue of the wolves, and how rapidly they are growing in size and number, and how quickly they are covering landscapes, and what we are seeing in terms of take and damage to, of course, agricultural livestock, and then also the interface with humanity, and that's not going well so far. So there's a lot of concern there, and we actually put forward a request that Congress would take a hard look at that, and maybe perhaps renegotiate our ability to battle some of the more aggressive top of the food chain wildlife, and perhaps um, looking into the way that we can safely haze and manage them on more of a federal level. So that was a good conversation. Um, I have a lot of notes and I don't want to miss anything. We did talk quite a bit about FEMA reform, and how that may change our rural communities' ability to respond to emergencies. And then also, there was quite a bit of presentation on using AI in terms of a surveillance mechanism out in wildlands, to add AI and the ability for it to calculate and communicate back for fire watching. So that was the programs that are already being invented are pretty amazing, how fast and how quickly they can respond and do accurate pointing of accurate mapping of where that fire is. Um, there is coming up September 9th through 11th, a national PILT fly-in, with an attempt to increase PILT funding for next year. The next Western Interstate Regional Conference is going to be in Hawaii. Um, And then, of course, the next NACO, major NACO conference is the Washington DC Legislative Conference. I had also attended, of course, the California caucuses where we spoke about specific needs that are very unique to California and how we would like those to be presented through NACO to Congress. We had the opportunity to hear speakers, Doris Goodwin and Doug Bradburn, which was amazing. They're both presidential historians, and since we were in Philadelphia at the site of the crafting of the Constitution, and then also the origins of our revolution, it was amazing to listen to these historians talk and share about the founding fathers and what it took in order to do that. We had some receptions at Revolutionary Hall and then at the Constitution Center. And it was just really, really fascinating and amazing to be in that place and to get the opportunity to see those. As soon as I came home from NACO, I went to the California, I went to the North Coast Air Quality Control Board meeting. I have here, and I'm willing to, maybe I can have them scanned in if anybody's interested. There's quite a bit of information on the EPA deregulatory actions that were announced March 12th, 2025. And those speak to the things where through congressional order and then also through action from the president's office on some of the things that are going to be stepped back in terms of mandates with air quality and other EPA actions. So I can certainly share that with anybody who's interested in that, as it may have some implications towards mostly our vehicles and some of our equipment. And then finally, I attended the collaborative meeting on the 17th, and I spent some time with our RCD lead, Kelly, this last week, just visiting and catching up on what their projects are. And I will be off to meetings hopefully soon. I have one in High and Palm, but I will be doing community meetings on the front side of the budget so I can hear folks' concerns and different things. So thank you. Sorry, that was a little long, but there was a lot of stuff.
No problem. Thank you. We will now move on to the consent calendar.
My update.
Say again?
I haven't done my update.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Next week.
Next week, okay. Okay, Nortec, which is the Workforce Development Group, work continues, but thankfully is wrapping up with the effort to find a new executive director. When the board meets on August 28th, they will be presented with the recommendation that the hiring committee has pulled together. That has been dozens and dozens of hours to try to do that, but it feels good to know that we've got great candidates to consider. PSA 2, we had a board meeting on July 21st, and we actually have a special meeting again tomorrow to pick up on a matter that was, we had to kind of leave off and allow some more time to percolate. So we're picking back up on that tomorrow. PSA 2 being the Area Agency for Aging. I can never get that right. But a lot of good work being done there, and as happens with things sometimes that you run into some complicated matters that take a little bit extra. Jail health, I was able to participate in the last quarterly meeting to review progress and plans, and it was extremely encouraging to see all the progress that's been made, the strong coordination and collaboration amongst all the different departments being involved in that process. And I think we're, as CEO Tuttle alluded, we're starting to see the benefits from that even on a financial basis and anticipate more. With the CSAC leadership visit, so Jeff Griffiths is the current president, a supervisor from another county. It was interesting when we were talking about Trinity County, and I always love to throw out the 3,200 square miles, less than 16,000 people in one stoplight. And his was more like, what was it, 9,000 square miles and 93% public lands, and it was like, wow. So he understood us, and it was really great. And his intent to being here was, as president, to carry back to CSAC, not just from Trinity County, but other counties he was visiting, a closer, deeper understanding of what our unique needs were, which I thought was great because I had met with him and the CEO of CSAC earlier in the year or late last year, I can't remember, raising concerns about I wasn't always sure that that was the case. So this was a clear investment of time and energy. It took him 7.5 hours to drive here and finished meetings and drove back. And he was here we started breakfast at 7:45 a.m. and he left here around 2:30 p.m. So it was a day full of meetings. We arranged the schedule to make the most of it. While it would have been fun to really show him Trinity County and how wonderful it is, we focused in on, well, what can be impactful? So we met with Department of Transportation, Health and Human Services Agency, the education group. Jamie Green was out fighting for Secure Rural Schools Act funding in DC. So Fabio brought together staff members. We focused on that. We met with Fire Safe Council, talked about insurance matters. CEO Tuttle and I had a chance to talk about a number of different factors with them. And what did I just miss? Oh, and the probation was also there. Sheriff Saxon was not available at the time, but we did try to cover matters of interest on his behalf as well. So it was really good. And two things that were encouraging. One, I think they were being quite genuine when they came away and said, you have made better use of this time than anybody else has. So and it was the people that he met with were very well prepared, knew exactly what they wanted to share. Some had handouts. It was really impressive. And two, right now there's an actual event going on with CSAC where you can get recognition for doing really innovative things within your county. And when they left, they said, well, we just heard a couple of things that you really should be submitting for those awards. And he was acknowledging the great work that's being done here. And so I just applaud everybody. It was not tremendous amount of notice to pull those meetings together, and everybody really put their best foot forward. So I appreciate that. Tourism Development Advisory Board, I met with Civitas Advisors, and I won't go into the details, but after our meeting, they agreed to provide some additional support at no additional charge. And not a ton more, but we did have, I had a couple of meetings with them. They met with the ad hoc committee one more time. It allowed us to get some questions, the answers that had been lingering that we couldn't ask because we were on pause. And we also just did some brainstorming about the way forward. And from there, I received introductions and have met with the leaders of 3 different tourism investment districts who have very graciously offered their support. They are providing testimonials. They are offering to come visit. They are offering to make phone calls because they have experienced the positive impact of having an investment district like this, and they are very hopeful that we can. And commented on that it's not just, don't just look at it as what you can achieve with the, say, $200,000 a year that you would raise, but how that's multiplied by the counties around you and the Visit California who can build upon all those sorts of things. So it was encouraging, and we're trying to figure out the best way forward. I think I provided in the past, we're kind of in that mode where we've been polling the lodging business owners to see what level of support we have. And that continues. I would like to just tease up something that I see if the board is willing to take this on as an agenda item in the future. I would like to propose adding 2 members of the planning department staff to the advisory board. I've spoken with CEO Tuttle. It would not be a huge time requirement on their behalf, but it would allow us to have some additional bandwidth, get some exposure to economic development type opportunities for county staff. And by increasing the number of board members to 9, we're currently at 7, it would also allow me to join the ad hoc committee for the public meetings that we want to have with all the lodging business owners. Right now, we're limited to 3, and 3 members assigned by the supervisors had volunteered to do that, so I didn't want to put one of them out of that request. But now we're at that point where we are going to basically say go or no go, and I would love to be able to participate in those meetings, but due to Brown Act concerns, can't do that unless we have a larger board. So that's just something, if there's interest, we could put on a future agenda, and I've already been working with County Council and CEO Tuthill to prepare for that if there's support.
I would support that.
I as well.
Me too.
Okay.
Idea.
All right. Thank you. That's all.
Sorry for skipping you there.
It's all right.
We'll move on now to the consent calendar. These items include routine, non-controversial matters and will be acted upon by the board by one roll call motion. If a member of the public has any questions or comments on an item on the consent calendar, they may provide them now. A member of the board or staff may request an item be pulled and considered separately. Do we have any public comment? Do you have any public comment on Zoom?
Ben Kellogg.
Good morning again. A couple that I had questions regarding D23 replacing 16 windows at the jail for $53,000. Are the windows broken or are the seals broken? The windows are less than 3 years old because the jail is less than 3 years old, November of 22. Is there not a warranty on the existing windows? Why are we having to pay $53,000? That depends on whether or not they're broken or not. Is this the best use of OES funds with everything that we need from a public safety standpoint? There's lots of other things we could use for. D28, the MOU for Epic. Instead of focusing on illicit cannabis, how about we free up a Trinity County leadership representative from the Sheriff's Department for the eradication of fentanyl, meth, cocaine, and heroin that's engulfing our county. And then D29, the robot. Do we have enough bomb calls to justify spending $27,000 now signing an MOU to share one with 4 counties? Or we stand pat? I'm assuming if we need a bomb call out, we ask for mutual aid from Shasta SO. How many bomb response calls have we had in the last 5 years to justify the purchase? And with the county and SO continuing to slash budgets, would this money better be served somewhere else? Perhaps refunding SAR would be a great start with this funding. Seems like a want, not a need. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other on Zoom?
I show no other raised hands.
Would the board like to pull anything from the agenda? Patty?
No.
No?
I move that we present the consent calendar as presented.
I will second.
And just under public comment, I will say that I always review through all these things and send a bunch of questions. I had questions about the windows, questions about some other things, and got answers that made me feel quite comfortable with what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the importance of doing those sorts of things. So that's why I don't feel like there's a need to pull it for our discussion, and prepared to vote in support
Of 28 and 29.
of everything.
Everything. All right, go ahead.
Supervisor Gogan.
Aye.
Supervisor Lutwiler.
Aye.
Supervisor Cox.
Aye.
Supervisor Brownfield.
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
Aye.
Anybody need a break, anything? No? Onward and forward? Perfect. Okay, public hearing, excuse me. Solid waste resolution delinquent list. Diana, how are you?
Doing good. Diane Rader, Deputy Director of Solid Waste. This is our final public hearing for the 25-26 fiscal year. The bills were approved to be sent out in March and the bill in April. The list attached here is the list of unpaid items that we would like to adopt the resolution to roll those to property taxes. I have also submitted a supplemental list of payments that we received after we submitted this agenda item that we would like permission to go ahead and keep those payments and reduce them from the outstanding list. I think that's it unless there are questions.
Board up.
Two questions. One is, I sent an email and you guys responded, thank you, about the percentage that this represented of our total. It was a pretty high percentage of people that were delinquent. And I'm just wondering, is that pretty consistent? Every year you have about the same volume, even if
It
it's not the
is.
same people?
It is. It's roughly like a 20-25%, somewhere in there. It ranges between those are the ones that would rather pay with their property taxes. Some of them prefer to do it that way, so they can either split the payments or it just keeps it all in one bill instead of having to pay ours separately.
Okay. And it seems obvious to me, but sometimes you can make really bad assumptions that this is a lot more work on you and others when people don't just pay like they're supposed to. And we have to go through this whole process. And one, if you could validate that or not. And then two, is there anything within our policies, regulations, anything that we can do to cover that cost? To say, if you pay on time, it's this. If you don't pay on time, it's this. We may not have that flexibility, but I'm just, those two things I'd like to ask about.
There's a $35 late fee that
Okay,
is applied to the ones that are outstanding past June 30. And that generally covers the extra expense in collecting that, because yes, it's a lot more work to have to cover them after that.
and you do feel like the $35 does pretty much cover that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
It'll be attached to, we'll look at it again when we come up on doing our next fee study and make sure that we're still in line with it.
okay. Well, thank you for clarifying and thank you for your diligence on it. And, as people worry and concern about how we're using our money and why we can't do more, if you'd pay your bills, that would help.
It does raise the question, and I imagine it can't be discussed at this time, but if some people prefer to pay an extra $35 to have it rolled onto their tax roll because it's easier or better for their personal situation to divide that payment out, and it costs more time to do two processes, is there any consideration for a conversation regarding a new process where all of it would simply be on your tax roll?
So that conversation comes up at various times.
Okay.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay, so I'm just throwing that into the atmosphere. I know it can't be discussed. Thank you.
One more question. So for these delinquent ones, are you seeing a lot of pushback on the actual fee itself from some people, or is it mainly just not paying their bill? Are you seeing an up, like a,
There's always a combination on that.
okay,
We get a lot of different viewpoints on that
right?
fee. But it is what supports the infrastructure to the solid waste system that helps keep our tipping fees lower than they could be, to be able to have that two-tier system.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and I guess one other question that came to mind then, this list that you gave us to remove from what we would do as property liens, are these then not being charged the $35 because they have subsequently paid?
They were late payments, so most of them do have the late fee applied to them.
Okay.
And the ones
Still
that are
there.
not, then that is, you'll notice when you look at the delinquent list, then there's ones that are $35 instead of $135. And
Gotcha.
those are the ones that didn't really make the time frame and we didn't deduct fees.
Okay, thank you. No further questions for me?
You need to thank you. I'm surprised that it's such a high rate of non-payers, honestly. But we'll leave it at that.
Public comment for this,
Yeah,
Fran?
You have
public
to open
comment.
the public hearing.
Say it again.
It's a public hearing, so
Public
you need to
hearing.
open the public hearing and
Any
invite comment.
Public comment in the room? On Zoom.
I think this is that
Yeah.
one where we have to formally say we're opening the public hearing.
And the time, yeah, exactly.
We're opening the public hearing
At 11.
at 11:16.
I show no raised hands.
We would take a vote.
Okay, so no public comment. So now we need,
Close the public hearing
We will close it at 11:17.
and invite a motion.
move to approve as presented with the supplemental list.
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead, Heidi.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris,
Aye.
Supervisor Lutwiler,
Aye.
Supervisor Cox,
Aye.
Supervisor Brownfield,
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan.
Thank you. County matters. These items include non-routine or controversial matters and are listed alphabetically by department. A member of the board, staff, or public may request an item be heard out of order. F1, Human Resources. Approve the updated PARS investment policy statement.
Good morning again.
Good morning again.
Layla Cassis, Director of Human Resources Risk Manager. This is based off of the presentation that you saw earlier today. Oh, once again,
Yeah,
I'm
no
too
worries.
short. Sorry. This is based off of the presentation that you saw today, but also there are some changes in the investment programs within there. So we're just asking to update the policy in order to reflect those changes as well. You want to say anything else?
Well, there's no changes in strategy. A lot of this is just terminology because PFM Assets is now the official representative. As we heard, a lot of this is administrative cleanup just to make sure that it's all in line with the current company who is actually representing us. But as far as the strategy goes and the levels of risk and all that, nothing's changing there.
The board have any questions?
Nope.
Take public comment in the room. On Zoom.
I show no raised hands.
I'll move approval of the updated PARS investment policy statement.
I will second.
Supervisor Gogan,
Aye.
Supervisor Cox.
Aye.
Supervisor Lutwiler,
Aye.
Supervisor Brownfield,
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
Aye.
Thank you.
We will now move into closed session and I'll open it back up to public comment. And I will report out on the last closed session, which was the employee evaluation. You can find the template for county council's evaluation and also CEO Tuthill's evaluation on the website in Trinity County. Both of them are available and open to the public. I know that we take a little bit of flack over using that as a kind of a camouflage, but we do not. So both of them are available to the public. As I said, council and CEO Tuthill's are both available there. I will open public comment for
To read the items first.
G1, government code section 54954 5F, labor negotiations, county designated representative, Margaret Long, Leila Casillas, and Elizabeth Hamilton. Employee organization, IHSS. G2, government code section 54954.5B, real property negotiations, property 35 Arbuckle Court project. Agent negotiations, Liz Hamilton, Margaret Long, Trent Tuthill. Negotiating parties, John Palladini. Under negotiations, price and terms of lease. Do we have any public comment in the room? On Zoom?
Ben Kellogg,
Good morning again, Ben Kellogg, Weaverville. We really need to take care of our healthcare workers, our IHSS workers. You know, the county always complains that there's no money, that there's a budget deficit. But with that in mind, we continuously hear that department heads are getting raises and other pay increases. Obviously, these sound like escalator clauses in labor contracts. Perhaps these escalator clauses need to go away for the time being and not be mandatory until the county's finances get back in order. Because you're praising our workers but you're not paying them for what they're worth. You know, lawsuits put our county in the red because we have to pay these huge deductibles every time we get sued and decide to pay out. You know, couple that with the county having to pour huge amounts of money into the new but inadequate jail. I mean, who really builds a jail without a kitchen? Our frontline workers should come first. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment on Zoom?
I show no other raised hands.
We are adjourned. We are adjourned at 11:22.